At the beginning, everything feels right. You're motivated, focused, locked in. You've decided to commit to training, to progress, to finally doing things the right way. Maybe you cleaned up your diet. Maybe your workouts finally have structure. Maybe, for the first time in a while, you feel like momentum is on your side. Then you add creatine, not because it's trendy, not because someone hyped it up, but because you've heard the truth, it works. And for a few days, nothing dramatic happens. No fireworks, no instant transformation, just quiet consistency. Until one morning, something feels off. The scale says you're heavier, your stomach feels tight, your body feels different, subtly, but enough to trigger doubt. And suddenly, the confidence you had starts to crack. You start asking questions you didn't expect to ask. Is this normal? Did I mess something up? Is my body reacting badly? Should I stop before this gets worse? This is the moment most people never talk about. The moment when progress doesn't feel like progress. When change feels like something going wrong. But here's the truth most never hear. That uncomfortable phase isn't failure. It's the activation phase. And the people who quit here don't quit because creatine doesn't work. They quit because they don't understand what working actually looks like. The misunderstanding that ends most journeys doesn't announce itself. It doesn't rush through your system like caffeine. It doesn't spike your heart rate. It doesn't create a sudden on switch. Instead, it works in silence. Inside muscle cells, inside energy systems, inside recovery pathways that don't show up as feelings, but as outcomes weeks later. And that silence is dangerous, because silence creates space for imagination. And imagination, without context, turns into fear. Most people expect supplements to feel like something. When they don't, they assume nothing is happening. When something unexpected happens, they assume something is wrong. That expectation mismatch is what kills progress. Not the supplement, not the weight gain, not the discomfort. The story people tell themselves about it. So let's dismantle those stories, one by one. When the scale moves up and your confidence drops, it happens fast. One day, you're consistent. The next day, the number jumps. 2 pounds. Sometimes 3. No warning. No explanation. And immediately, your mind fills in the blanks. I'm gaining fat. This is ruining my cut. I just reversed weeks of hard work. That reaction is automatic, emotional, understandable, but it's also wrong. That weight is not fat. It's not regression. It's not a mistake. It's water strategically relocated. Creatine increases the amount of water stored inside muscle cells. That's part of how it improves performance. Muscles that are properly hydrated contract better, recover faster, and tolerate more volume. This is not cosmetic fluff. It's functional adaptation. But the scale doesn't explain context. It just reports mass. And when people see mass increase, they panic, especially if fat loss is their goal. Here's what they miss. Fat gain doesn't happen overnight. Water shifts do. If creatine caused instant fat gain, it wouldn't be one of the most studied supplements on Earth. It wouldn't be used by athletes across every sport. And it wouldn't have decades of data confirming its safety and effectiveness. The real damage isn't the weight, it's the meaning assigned to it. People see the number go up and assume the process is broken. They abandon ship right as their muscles are becoming more efficient. They react before they interpret. And in doing so, they interrupt the very adaptation they wanted. Your mirror, your clothes, your training performance. Those tell the real story. The scale is just one data point. And without context, it lies. When your stomach pushes back, the second red flag people notice isn't visual. It's internal. A feeling of fullness, gas, mild nausea, a sense that digestion isn't quite right. And the immediate conclusion? My body can't handle creatine. But in most cases, that's not true. What your body is reacting to isn't creatine itself. It's how it's being introduced. Here's what usually happens. Someone hears about loading phases. 20 grams a day, multiple doses, maximum speed. They want results now. But your digestive system doesn't care about urgency. It cares about balance. Creatine draws water with it. When large doses sit in the digestive tract without being absorbed quickly, that water causes bloating and discomfort. This isn't intolerance, it's overload. And yet, instead of adjusting, most people panic. They assume the supplement is the problem, not the strategy. The fix is simple, but rarely applied. Lower the dose, 3 to 5 grams per day. Take it with food. Drink enough water. That's it. No suffering required. No forcing adaptation. Within days, the discomfort disappears, not because creatine stopped working, but because the body was finally allowed to adapt properly. The real side effect here isn't bloating, it's impatience. The most confusing PHAE. When nothing seems to happen, this is the phase that ends more creatine cycles than any other. Not pain, not weight gain, not discomfort. Silence. You take creatine every day. A week passes, then 2, and you feel normal. No explosive strength, no dramatic pumps, no obvious change. And that's when doubt gets loud. Is this even doing anything? Am I wasting my time? Shouldn't I feel something by now? This is where expectations sabotage results. Creatine doesn't deliver instant gratification. It builds saturation. It accumulates. It layers effect upon effect quietly. Most people won't notice anything for 1 to 3 weeks. And even then, the changes aren't flashy. You recover slightly faster. You hold strength a bit longer at the end of sets. You feel less drained between sessions. Subtle improvements, but subtle improvements compound. And the problem is, people quit before the compound effect shows itself. They unplug the charger because the battery isn't full yet. The side effect here isn't physical at all. It's psychological, a mismatch between fantasy and reality. Creatine rewards patience. Impatience cancels it. When hydration feels off, headaches, dry mouth, cramps mid-set, suddenly, training feels harder instead of easier. And again, creatine gets blamed. But creatine doesn't dehydrate you. What it does is redistribute water. More water goes into muscle cells. That's good for performance, but only if your total intake increases slightly to match the new demand. If you were already underhydrated before, creatine exposes that weakness. Add heat, add caffeine, add intense training. Now the symptoms show up. The fix isn't complicated. Drink more consistently. Not all at once. Not obsessively. Just enough to meet the new baseline. Creatine raises the standard. Your habits have to rise with it. When blood work causes panic, you feel fine. Training is solid. Progress is steady. Then your blood results come back. Creatinine is elevated, and fear takes over. Creatinine is a breakdown product of creatine. When you supplement, levels rise slightly. This is normal physiology, not kidney failure. But without context, numbers scare people, especially when doctors aren't informed about supplementation. This leads to unnecessary panic, more tests, stress, and often quitting creatine entirely, all because of missing information. For healthy individuals using normal doses, research is clear: creatine is safe. Transparency matters. Context matters. Misinterpretation, not damage, is the real risk here. The trap of feeling too strong too fast. When creatine does kick in, confidence surges. You lift more, recover faster, feel capable. And that's where another mistake creeps in. Overconfidence. Muscles adapt faster than joints and tendons. Creatine enhances muscle performance strength, but connective tissue needs time. When people chase numbers without restraint, injuries follow. Creatine didn't cause the injury. Ego did. Progress requires restraint. Power without control isn't progress, it's risk. The most dangerous myth that creatine replaces effort. This is the final trap. The belief that creatine will compensate for poor sleep, bad training, and inconsistent nutrition. It won't. Creatine amplifies effort, doesn't replace it. If the foundation is weak, the supplement does nothing. And instead of fixing the foundation, people blame the tool. That's how people bounce from supplement to supplement, never progressing. Creatine works best when basics are respected. Structure, consistency, recovery. When those are in place, creatine becomes leverage. Not magic, not a shortcut, a multiplier. The real takeaway: the scale jump, the stomach discomfort, the silence, the hydration changes, the blood work confusion. These aren't signs of failure, They're signs of adaptation. The real enemy isn't creatine. It's misunderstanding. People don't fail because creatine doesn't work. They fail because they quit too early, react too fast, or expect the wrong things. If you understand the process, you stay calm. If you stay calm, you stay consistent. If you stay consistent, results show up and stay. So the question isn't whether creatine works. It's whether you're patient enough to let it. If this changed how you see the process, stick around, because understanding beats hype every time. And that's how real progress is built.